You're a chronicler of our times and a very good one. You're not a politician, but if you were to suggest some ways that we might deal with these problems, or things that we could do, or things that we might change that could shift things a bit and shift the stuff we've seen over the past 20 months have exposed some of the moral rot in Western society to an extraordinary degree, more than anything else in my lifetime. What do you think we can do or start to do to try and turn some of this stuff around?
First thing would be to be honest with ourselves, to admit to the problems, to admit that there's something that's gone badly, badly wrong, and then to ask why, and then start to turn it around. I think in general, most of the problems that I've written about and you've written about come back to a central question, which is whether the liberal democratic states that we live in can cope with can develop the ability to say no or not. And if the states we live in are not capable of saying no, that's something we don't put up with, then we're in real trouble for all of the foreseeable future. But that's what it comes down to, is like, are we able, are institutions able, and are our countries able to say, that's something we do not allow. And if you want to do that, like if you want to bring down the West, if you want to kill the Jews, if you hate liberal democracy and you want to end it and subvert it, there are lots of places you can live, but this ain't one of them. And it's like the pussyfooting for all my adult life around this question has been extraordinary. But there is an answer to that, which is, yes, you say, I'm sorry, very sorry, chaps, but there are limits and there are rules. There are rules, like joining any club. That there are rules in this country, and these are the things we don't put up with. And if you're a vicious anti-Semite, vicious anti-West, and hate the infidels and so on, then hop it. We haven't got space for you here, and we don't want you here. And that would do a huge amount, because as we've all seen in different countries, a country can lean, as I would say, it doesn't even have to be particularly forceful actions. It can lean in a certain direction, and people follow that on a range of issues. If government leans into something, then it takes off or it stops, and that's what I'd like to see. Is just a drawing of the line, and it's alarming to me that in British politics in particular, that line is talked about but never enforced. And I mean, it's talked about. I mean, Keir Starmer yesterday, or the day before speaking, was tweeting about how angry he is about the illegal boats coming at the southern border of the UK. But he just tweets he's angry about it. Well, anyone can do that. Anyone with an X account can do that. But you're the Prime Minister. Don't you have any power to stop it, to act? That's and the fact that even opposition parties of the right don't really want to get into the details of how they would turn any of this around. And but it doesn't mean there isn't time. Doesn't mean it can't be done. I'd like to see it done. And in that whole thing, I do think that the questions of the Jews and anti-Semitism are one of the early warning sirens of a deep lack of health in society, and indeed in a person. And that's why it's so important. That's why it matters. That's why, to say, why are you focused on this? It's because as a writer, you should be alert to the early warning sirens, the early warning problems. and do what you can to raise your voice and to warn, and in the hope that people will listen, because there's not much pleasure in being proved right after everything's gone wrong.